So let's talk Jeopardy, shall we?
Okay.
Well, this is building off of what we talked about last time on the show when James Holzhauer came back and won everything.
I called it.
Yep. But you didn't call this. Just announced.
Brad, Ken, and James will be playing Jeopardy for all eternity? Yes, yeah. I have, actually.
But you didn't call it on the Gumbocast, so that doesn't count.
Darn it!
So it was announced that on primetime ABC starting January 6th, I think? Starting January 6th. Jeopardy, the greatest of all time. It's going to
Jeopardy
be...
GOAT.
Yep, Jeopardy GOAT. It is Brad Rutter versus Ken Jennings versus James Holzhauer in a battle determined who is the best Jeopardy player of all time.
So I don't know where you want me to start with this one.
I think
I have
let's
a whole
talk about
lot of opinions on this.
Let's talk about the format first.
Okay.
As far as explained in the press release, it is the first to 2 games wins a match, and the first to win 3 matches wins. And they get, what, $2 million?
Close. Okay, so the format is, it plays exactly like the last day of the tournament. So it's a 2-day single Jeopardy, double Jeopardy, final Jeopardy. Then we do in the second half a single Jeopardy, double Jeopardy, final Jeopardy. The combine of those 2 games, whoever has the most wins the game. It's 1 point. First to 3 wins $1 million. The other 2 get $250,000.
And I'm assuming they're playing for points?
They're playing with money. They're playing with money, but the point is what matters. The game point is what matters.
So I'm assuming that the cash that they accrue along the way is meaningless.
It is. It's unless there's like somehow James runs the board and gets like over $1 million. Because these are 2 games of Jeopardy.
I don't think even at his best he could get $1 million in 6 games.
Well, at the worst, it's 7 games because 2, 2, 3. But at the fastest, if say Brad Rutter runs the board, which might be the case, I'm calling it James in 3. I'm going to say it's Brad in 3. Sorry, Brad in 3 is my lock-in.
I'm going to say Brad in 5.
So you're going to say he's going to have his first loss.
You can't call it a loss in a tournament.
Well, if he loses, if you don't get the most in 2 games, that's a loss.
Yeah, but Brad has lost before.
Against a robot beep boop.
It counts.
I'm not counting robot beep boops.
Fine.
I'm not counting against Rosie, the robot. I'm not counting against, what was the robot from Her, that Joaquin Phoenix movie? I'm not counting that.
Wait, who even saw that movie?
I'm not counting that. I'm going to say Brad in 3. I know that's in the minority. The fun part, but here's the one thing I actually wanted to say while I like the format, because it is just like the last day of the tournament, and it's a point structure where every week it's something new. Because it's a weekly, I think. It's weekly.
No.
It's not daily. It's daily, so every day. Ooh, fascinating. What I find fascinating about this Jeopardy news is actually the mainstream opinion on this, because I not only read this here in our game show circle, what I loved most about this was I read this in Entertainment Weekly. I read this in ESPN and Fox Sports.
I read this in Variety.
And this is why I always am an advocate for Jeopardy. This is the ambassador of game shows to anywhere else. So sports people, I read this on my local sports channel, Jeopardy GOAT, and they're all saying the same thing. Oh, it's going to be James, because we know James. He's a sports guy. He's a sports bettor. And then it's like, I noticed I've noticed this trend. I might be wrong here. Who do you think is going to win between James, Ken Jennings, and Brad? All depends on your knowledge of the show Jeopardy.
And that means the winner is Brad.
If you are a game show nerd and you follow the circle of Jeopardy, you know Brad will win this because he has yet to lose a human game of Jeopardy. But if you are nostalgic for the Ken Jennings run, because you grew up in the 2000s, you will most likely say, well, Ken, he's the smart guy. He's the genius. He's on all the shows. He's on all the game shows.
Nope.
And then if you are a recent fan of Jeopardy, like you just now gravitated to Jeopardy because you heard about James Holzhauer's run, you're going to lean towards James because look at all the records he broke. Look at all the money.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, that's the fascinating part. Everyone's siding on one of these three. And I think you honestly can't really think of a best three competitors for Jeopardy, can you, for this tournament? And this really is. I know what you're going to lean with because there's a lot of great competitors. You can get Buzzy. You can get Austin Rogers. You can get Emma back.
Nope.
Jeopardy Julia.
Julia Collins got hosed in her tournament.
But I think these three are like, this is the Super Bowl of Jeopardy. This is the almost bigger than Super Jeopardy in a way. And I mean, there's a lot of thoughts like, is this like the way to, are they putting Trebek into this? Like this is his last hurrah and this is like the Jeopardy GOAT leading into the next generation of Jeopardy?
I think so.
Or is this just to celebrate Jeopardy as this long-standing quiz show?
I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Because to me, this should be the game. This is bigger than Grand Slam. This is the biggest game show thing out there. This is bigger than like The Chase or Beat the Chasers or Egghead. This is the best on Jeopardy. Playing a Jeopardy tournament for $1 million. Mm-hmm. It's the Super Bowl. This is the NBA Finals, or even the World Series. Now I think about it, because it is out of 7 games, right?
Right. And you know what? I have some comparisons here. Some sports comparisons that you might like. Ken Jennings is the 2001 Seattle Mariners.
Okay. I can actually see where you're going at with this. We're going baseball in this. All right.
Well, we're going sports in general, but I'm saying the 2001 Seattle Mariners. He has the record for most games won. But like the Seattle Mariners, you know what they always do when it comes to the most important matters? He chokes. He has never won a tournament. Even in the Ultimate Tournament of Champions, when he was put in the finals.
But there you go. There's your big storyline for Ken. He is the guy everyone knows, but he's never won a tournament. James won a tournament. Brad won a tournament. But Ken has yet to win a tournament. So now...
Brad has won all the tournaments.
So now you watch this and you're like, maybe I have to root for Ken, because he's technically the underdog of the three.
He is. And to me, Brad Rutter is the New England Patriots.
I was about to say that. He's like the New England Patriots. He is the Tom Brady of Jeopardy. Yep. People love to hate that guy.
And now we have the new hotness in James Holzhauer.
Which, where do you want to go with this? You want basketball because it's all three? Or you want to go hockey? He's the... Kawhi Leonard, I guess, because he's the hot thing, or LeBron, or Steph Curry.
I'm going teams.
All right, so then he might be the no, because I guess all the NBA games are all kind of split, so it's going to be tough. Guess you can say
I was going to go with the Golden State Warriors.
Golden State Warriors, then, because that was the hot dynasty team for a while.
It was the most recent dynasty because they went to 5 straight. Yeah, they went to 5 straight NBA Finals and won 3 of them. Lost to the Cavs and recently just lost to the Raptors.
And James really is a great competitor because everyone kind of knows his strategy now. They know how smart he is. That I could see why people want James to win this, because James theoretically could win this if he plays his strategy and beats Brad at his own game, because Brad's been known to do the same strategy as James. People forget that.
Yep, and Brad knows all the strategies. He's seen James's strategy before because he grew up watching Chuck Forrest. And I think he played against Arthur Chu in a tournament.
So if you can go against Forrest, the creator of the Holtzhauer Find the Final the Daily Double clue, and play wager enough to basically get far ahead that it becomes a lock-in at final, then yes.
Yep.
And there's your storyline too. Here is Brad and here is Ken. These are the two big Jeopardy champions. You always see them go head to head against each other, especially against Alexa, I guess.
Alexa or other big champions like Roger Craig, Jerome Barrett.
And now it's James's turn to see if he can hold up, if he can stand up to these two.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just a fluke that he got all those wins? Did you know Jeopardy is rigged, by the way?
Oh,
I will give you a theory about this. No. So you see James Holtzhauer and the Coriat ratings and
blah 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 blah.
Hey, it's just a theory.
Oh, fuck off with that stuff. All right.
And the chase continues. So I hate to break this into you. Hate to go into this Jeopardy chat, but I think the runner was rigged. I think MatPat, when he hosted the runner, he texted the location of the runner to the teams, and that's why they keep getting caught. Now, I don't know about this, but based on the research I did, it takes about 30 miles per location, and these clues take about 5 minutes to complete. So instead of doing the 5 minutes to complete, if they just told them the location instead of doing the physical challenge, maybe that's why they got caught.
I didn't know where you were going with this, but it was much better than what I was originally thinking. But let's talk about this. Okay, it was the most slapdash bullshit that I've ever seen in a video, claiming to have done real research. I could prick and pinpoint every single thing he got wrong, but I don't need to do that. Ask me why.
Why, Cyndi?
Because Austin Rogers did it for me.
I just saw that clip. And, I don't know. Maybe I would listen to Austin Rogers. He's an entertaining and a Jeopardy champion as well. One of the most entertaining Jeopardy contestants I know of. And he illustrated it way better than even I did on game shows, I suppose.
Yep.
And every one of anyone who's followed game shows like us, We Love to Interrupt guys, every one of them knows this is clickbaity and toxic.
Yeah, especially when you bring up the dreaded R word.
I hate the word rigged in this. First of all, it's called predetermined, and that's in pro wrestling, not game shows. Second,
yeah, rigged is slanderous, or what is it for YouTube videos? Is it slander or libel?
Libel is words, so slander is.
What would video be? Slander?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And it's where I'm get most offended by is not so much what he said, because it's clear he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's that you, Cyndi, me, We Love to Interrupt, Buzzer Blog, Game Show Newsnet, a lot of us who talk about game shows,
all of the former Jeopardy champions,
we all look into game shows. We all cover game shows. This is kind of what we do now, is we talk game shows. This is our circle. This is the sports. That to say something like that is not just like slanderous to the show. It's a smack in the face to all of us that talk about game shows for podcasts.
Because it sounds to us like near and dear to our hearts.
Because to us it sounds like it's kind of like when you say to wrestling fans, wrestling's fake, right? It's like, what? No, you idiot! Like, no. First of all, it's For him to say like it's rigged because this, and this, it's not rigged. There's standards and practices. There's question staff. There's a whole staff that has to focus on every clue. There is to make sure there is a limited number of categories. There are pop culture or world history or this, that you can't just have a huge group of like general knowledge in one area and no pop culture in the next episode.
Exactly.
It's like, we talk about it. The Jay board talks about this way more than I do. And for him to go through that very website and use their numbers and statistics and then completely forget why that was created in the first place, the Coriat score.
Yeah.
It's nauseating. It's such a annoying thing. And the fact that he can say this to 400,000 subscribers. Now, I'm not trying to say you
got the number of subscribers wrong. It's more than 400,000.
But he's saying that to a larger audience than the ones that know the subject matter way more than him.
Yep.
That to me annoys me way more. Because we can say what goes into making a Jeopardy episode. Jeopardy put out an episode of what goes into a Jeopardy episode.
Yeah.
And those numbers, the viewers for that, is below this guy who just pisses out this weak clickbaity thing just because he needs content to be made that day. That's all it is. It's just, I need to make content. I have to make content. I'm a YouTuber. I need to make content.
You know what pissed me off the most about this? It wasn't the fact that he got a lot of stuff wrong. Take a look at that second video, and you'll see a word highlighted on the bottom of where the title is. Fundraiser.
What we'll go say it before I have to look this up.
It's fundraiser. The money that he's making off of this, it's for a charity. It's one thing to spout stuff off and be wrong and pocket the money yourself. It's another thing to use it as a shield and use that to deflect that what you said is bold-faced wrong. And as far as I know, he has not, on December 2nd, 2019, when we're recording this, at 10:24 p.m., he has not taken down the videos, and I don't think he ever will.
He won't. And I don't think he wants to. Also, I will say, donate to Extra Life right now. Pat, you suck. Donate to my Extra Life campaign. We're going to donate to children's hospitals. You suck so much, Pat. Jesus Christ. Your opinions don't really seem like opinions now. They just seem like weird. It seems like Family Guy jokes. Like you have a big bucket of pop culture things and another pop culture bucket, and then you put your hands into both buckets. You draw the two out and try to put the pieces together. Now you're trying to do that with Jeopardy. Why? I don't know. Probably because it's in the news because of Trebek. Maybe. I don't hear you say Wheel of Fortune's rigged, even though that seems to be almost every single time I see Wheel of Fortune news now because someone added something to when they solved the puzzle, which is the one rule of Wheel of Fortune you don't do.
Right, and we're going to talk more Wheel of Fortune in a bit, but just to wrap this Jeopardy thing up, put a nice little bow on it, I'm looking forward to the Brad Ken James greatest of all time battles. I'm going to actually, here's my prediction. Even though I said Brad in 3,
I will say this will be one of the monumental game show events of all time.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like, if you're if you are any fan of game shows, doesn't matter if you care about Jeopardy, this will be a big deal.
Mm-hmm. So, big thumbs up to the greatest of all time. We're going to enjoy watching it. This probably will be Trebek's last hurrah.
122 clues, if they can go through all of them.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And go watch Austin Rogers' video debunking this pathetic, horrendous, hypocritical MatPat videos. Go watch Austin Rogers' video. You won't be disappointed.